Ladies and gentlemen, starting this edition with some details that we are getting in with regards to the Mangaluru cooker blast. It's an exclusive lead that we have got. Sources have now informed Republic that religious places and tourist spots were on the radar of the accused. Accused here is Shareeq that we are talking about. He conducted recce in Karnataka and across South India. Investigation, in fact, has also revealed that Shareeq conducted recce in Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Karnataka, including the Isha Foundation in Coimbatore. Accused Shareeq procured a SIM card and used a forged identity. In fact, over the next couple of minutes, we'll break down full details of the investigation that was carried out by the National Investigation Agents. Let's just first put this into perspective as to when did this blast take place? What is it that the investigation that was initially done by the Karnataka police, what did that reveal? And thereafter, when the case was actually picked up by the National Investigation Agency, where the bigger picture has now emerged. So it was not just one-off incident that we're really talking about, and also politics that essentially played out after the Mangaluru cooker blast, when there were questions that were essentially raised whether at all this was a lone wolf attack that was carried out, or perhaps part of a larger plan which actually had gone wrong. For more on this, I'll also be joined by my colleague Prajwal, who's getting us the latest details. The first set of breakings that we are putting out right now is with regards to the larger picture in terms of what is it that they intended to do. It is now clear from the investigation that has been carried out by the National Investigation Agency that there were other states which were also on the radar. So let's first break that down. My colleague who's accessed that report, Prajwal, walk us through the details in terms of the recce that was conducted by Shareeq and the others who were also allegedly involved. How many states were really covered? Which are the places that they were really looking at?
Shravan, now largely we are looking at the Malnad region and Dakshina Kannada region in the state of Karnataka, and we are also looking at the neighbouring states of Kerala as well as Tamil Nadu, which had largely been recce'd by Mohammed Shareeq. Shareeq went absconding from Karnataka in the last week of August when the trial blasts were conducted in Shivamogga district in Malnad region, which is also the hometown of Shareeq, a place called as Tirthali, around 25 kilometers. As soon as he goes absconding from Karnataka, he immediately moves to Tamil Nadu. He goes to a place called as Nilgiri's Hill as well, near Metupalayam, and over there he conducts recce's in tourist places, largely having more of foreign nationals. Secondly, he's also gone ahead and conducted a recce at the Coimbatore's Isha Foundation between September 8th to September 15th there, and he stayed at a lodge. Over here, he changes his identity from Shareeq to Arun Kumar Gauli. And this Arun Kumar Gauli is also a government servant in the state of Karnataka. Over here, he changes his identity and he discards his SIM cards away so that there will be absolutely no sort of digital evidence that he will be leaving behind. And later, he starts clicking pictures with the statue of Adi Yogi. He also goes ahead and shows that he is a follower of Shiva, and he also starts posting pictures largely. And later, after the Coimbatore recce is conducted, from Coimbatore he travels to Kanyakumari via Madurai and reaches Nagarkoil, and later he recce's around 7 to 8 locations in Kanyakumari, mainly the Kanyakumari's Vivekananda statue. Later he also goes to the Vantage Point and the Kanyakumari beach, the Sunset Point, which is famously known there in Kanyakumari, as well as 3 other beaches as well. And largely he focuses on places of worship in Kanyakumari too. And after this recce is completed, he gets a call from his handler, the colonel, asking him not to stay in one place for for more time, and asks him to move away as well. And later, now Shareeq, who's assumed the identity of Arun Kumar Gauli, travels from Kanyakumari to the neighbouring state of Kerala as well. And in Kerala, he visits 3 places. Largely, he stays in Aluva, but he also goes to the Kochi airport, the railway station, a prominent mall in Kerala which has any day a footfall of anywhere between 8,000 to 10,000 people daily, and also topmost business establishments. And he also visits the Saint Sebastian Church there. So this is the first time, apart from the Hindu places, he also goes to a church over here, which is on his radar too. And after this, he clicks pictures of them. He also goes through and videographs this entire places too. And after videographing them, he sends it via online through wire, tap, as well as signal too, and all these messages along with the videos and photographs with the entry and exit points that he had noted down during recce was sent to his online handler Colonel, who still remains at large, along with a person by the name of Abdul Mateen Taha, whose name has now cropped up now and again as well. So largely he stays in Aluva, he stays there, and later again he changes his name. From now Arun Kumar Gauli, he becomes Prem Kumar, yet another official who also was a government employee working with the Central Railways as well. And later from there, Shareeq starts conducting recce for the places in the state of Karnataka where he can go ahead and obtain a household too, and travels to Dakshina Kannada in Mangaluru. And over here, the BJP's Udupi state office was on his target. I repeat, the BJP state office was on his target, and this explosive details has now been mentioned in the charge sheet as well. Not only that, but also several religious temples too. The Kanika Parameshwari temple, a very prominent temple, and also other holy places in the Mangaluru city was also on his target, where he again goes ahead, makes the, he makes these notes of the exit and entry points, and he is also looking into the security angle as well, and plans the attack in the third week of November too, because that is the time when there is heavy footfall because of the sort of tourists who come in, as well as the devotees too, Shravan.
Let's also take our viewers through some more details that we have now accessed with regards to how exactly was the funding really taking place. Not to forget that the recce of these places would have required some amount of funding. Where did it really come in from? Who were the people who were essentially used in it? Our sources have essentially informed Republic that the funding angle is still being probed. However, in the charge sheet, they make a mention of that Shareeq was actually getting online payments through constant transfer that was taking place. The money was paid to the account through cryptocurrency is what we are picking up. The money was being deposited to an account in the name of Sarla Devi. There's also an involvement of a colonel. We'll try and get in Prajwal on this as to who exactly is this colonel that they are referring to, who had also sent an ATM card in the name of Sarla Devi to Shareeq. Shareeq had in fact got the ATM card through Maz Munir Ahmed, who was also one of the accused in the Shivamogga trial blast case. Shareeq had basically started using this ATM card only after the Shivamogga trial blast case, and was used to make payouts in the cash only, so that not to leave any digital evidence behind. So let me just quickly recap this while we also get Prajwal back on the screen right now, getting us more details. Prajwal, in the charge sheet that we've actually gone through an exhaustive list of payments that have taken place. What I've also picked up from a preliminary understanding of the charge sheet is that there were frequent transfers that were taking place, but the transfers were not in huge amounts. Essentially, typically of what you would actually see in cases like this, that so that it does not raise an alarm bell, they would have lower amount of transfers that would take place, and that would have essentially been done in a very clandestine manner. But what basically strikes here the most is the fact that cryptocurrency was also used, and this is exactly where the fear comes in from, that how cryptocurrency is now essentially being misused. Now, as per this particular charge sheet, they also make a mention of a colonel. Could you just help us understand who this colonel are they really referring to? Or was this some sort of a code name that was largely used so that it does not really perhaps raise any sort of suspicion?
You know, down south, Shravan, may it be in the state of Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh or Telangana, this particular name of this online handler, Colonel, has now been mentioned in many cases, and he's been wanted by the NIA in over 19 cases amounting to terrorism, human trafficking, and also under the UAPA Act, and also bringing in explosives and funding them, and he mainly operates from the Middle East. If sources are to go by, there is a clear hunch that this Colonel might be none other than yet another resident of Karnataka, and who is also a resident of Tirthalli. Incidentally, the same village where Mohammed Shareeq also hails from. He goes by the name of Abdul Mateen Taha, who has been absconding since 2019 after a case was registered against him in the Sadagunte Palya police station case, where he was wanted for the murder of a Tamil Nadu police person by the name of Wilson. After which, Abdul Mateen Taha has largely disappeared off the map too, but his name was again heard in Karnataka in the Shivamogga trial blast case, the recent case of the Ballari ISIS unit where 5 people were taken into custody as well, and the key mastermind Muniz was also radicalized by the same colonel as well. But very interestingly now, the NIA has also put in a money of around 5 lakh rupees to whoever goes ahead and gives in the identity of Abdul Mateen Taha. But is Abdul Mateen Taha and the colonel the same person is something that needs to be determined. But if what sources are to go by, his pinpoints and the last known geographical locations points to a country in the Middle East as well. And also now going ahead and looking at the sort of funding over here, Shravan, there is mainly the Tor browser, the dark web, which has largely been used. But what has been very shocking over here is the fact is that 2 identities of Indians which has been misused by this colonel. First and foremost, a person by the name of Saral Devi. The NIA has gone ahead and investigated, but it looks like it's a fictitious name and they have come to dead ends. And therefore, Shareeq initially, for the first 1 month after he finished his recce in Kerala and landed in Mangaluru to go ahead and conduct this blast in any of the holy places or the BJP office, he had lost his ATM card which had the name of Saral Devi, and this was obtained through his associate Maz Munir Ahmad. But what is very shocking is that after 1 week, after he loses his ATM card, there is yet another identity card, but this time it is not a fictitious character, but it is registered in the name of Pinky Raj Ahawat, yet another woman from Madhya Pradesh. And this was very shocking because the woman herself did not know that there were funds that was being transferred into her account, and the identity cards as well as the SIM cards that was used was also issued in her name, and this has been revealed in the NIA investigations. And from what we get to understand, the cryptocurrencies were basically converted on Telegram groups, and later the money was taken through the agents called as the POS agents, or the point of system of relay, where the money is exchanged, and Shareeq used to give them commissions as well. And as you rightly pointed out, all these amounts were transferred with less than 1 lakh rupees. There has been 4 major transactions which amounts to more than 1 lakh rupees. One to a sum of 2.58 lakh rupees, the other to a sum of 3,72,000, and yet another to 4,83,000. Apart from this, they have all been small transactions, and they have been directly given to the vendors from where these raw materials for going ahead and assembling these explosives was used, so that they would not be able to track. But the clincher for the National Investigation Agencies has been in the month of December in 2022, exactly 27 days after the Mangaluru cooker bomb blast took place, where they arrested one by the name of Akshay Raj alias Royal Sonu, who was using various telegram groups called as Bitcoin Mall, BTC Empire and BTC World. And this was something which was very important, and then he reveals the details that there has been multiple crypto transactions which has happened between him and Shareeq, and also a group of other associates as well, Shravan.
Well, thank you very much, Prajwal, for getting us the details of the Mangaluru cooker blast. Remember, what comes out clearly from this charge sheet that has been filed by the National Investigation Agency, that it's not about one isolated case, but something that we've been talking about, that these are sleeper cells which do exist in the southern states, especially where we have seen large-scale radicalization that has taken place. And happens to be a bigger cause of concern for the security forces. Shifting focus now to the other big story that is coming in this Monday. It's about the NewsClick probe that has been carried out by the Delhi police. Sources have now informed that the HR head of news portal NewsClick, Amit Chakrawarti, who is now in the custody of the Delhi police, who was also arrested along with Prabir Purkaista, has now reportedly moved to the Patiala House Court here in the national capital to turn an approver in the case. Now, the request of Amit Chakrawarti turning to be an approver was done in a closed court hearing in Patiala House Court. Now, just to put this into perspective, what are we really talking about? Why exactly the head HR of NewsClick turning an approver is a significant turn of events as far as this probe goes. Remember the allegation that's been leveled against NewsClick. It's a media portal operating from the national capital. The allegation was this, that the organization was essentially being funded by an individual who's considered to be a close aide, or rather operating for the Communist Party of China, CCP. In fact, the Enforcement Directorate in its investigation found out that there were multiple tranches of transactions that took place, and NewsClick was essentially being paid in lieu of propaganda to be carried out. Amit Chakrawarti, who is the head HR, has now essentially moved an application at the court where he wants to become an approver. Remember, all this while, NewsClick and the lobby perhaps were only debating about the fact that these are malicious allegations that were basically leveled and there was no truth attached to it. Now you have someone who was also a part of the company, someone who was aware of the fact that large amount of cash was essentially received, or rather money that was the transaction that actually took place. Now, what we're picking up is that in the court, they have put out details in a sealed cover. This happened sometime last week is what we are picking up. Let me bring in my colleague Piyush Ori, who's been tracking this story very closely. Piyush, first, for the benefit of our viewers, who exactly is Amit Chakrawarti? What are the allegations that have been leveled against Amit Chakrawarti? And why is it so very important, and one would say a turning point in this entire investigation?
So 3 important points, Shravan. First, Amit Chakrawarti is the head of human resources in NewsClick, and he was associated with Prabir Purkaista, who is the editor-in-chief of NewsClick since 1991. In fact, the FIR that was registered by Delhi police under charges of UAPA 15, 16, 18 and 22C, the Delhi police had charged Amit Chakrawarti and his brother Anup Chakrawarti in conniving with Prabir Purkaista and Gautam Navlakha of being involved in several anti-national activities. So thereby, the role of Amit Chakrawarti is equally significant, and it is also important to note that in the 2 arrests that were conducted by the Delhi Police Special Cell on 3rd of October, Amit Chakrawarti was one of the persons along with Prabir Purkaista who was arrested. Now, it is also important to note that on December 22nd, that is this Friday, at around 3 p.m., Amit Chakrawarti suddenly appeared in the UAPA court of Patiala House Court, in which, at a closed court hearing, he submitted an application whereby he requested for being a government witness in this case. Now, his turning out to be a government witness is going to be equally significant because he has been charged directly by the Delhi police of being one of the key accused in knowing about how the funds are being received through China and through several other countries by the associate Neville Roy Singham into NewsClick. And now, from here on, the course of investigation is going to take an interesting turn of event. It is also important to note, on Friday, December 22nd, when Amit Chakrawarti became the government's approver, Prabir Purkaista had also applied for the bail, but this was rejected, and the custody of Prabir Purkaista was further extended. In the investigation progress that was submitted by Delhi police to the court, it had mentioned very significantly in a sealed cover that
We'll try and connect with Piyush once again. We have lost the line with Piyush, but we're also getting in another exclusive lead where Republic has learned that the special cell submitted its investigation process to Judge Hardeep Kaur in the sealed cover last week, following which Prabir Purkaista, who had applied for the bail, was denied one, and custody was extended on the basis of the allegation that money was being routed from China through associate Naval Roy Singham, something that my colleague Purshottham was also mentioning. The Delhi Police Special Cell has invoked UAPA charges against Prabir Purkaista. That's the latest details we are getting in. Let me also quickly go back to Piyush if we can just reconnect with him for more details on the Chinese funding angle that has essentially emerged. In fact, as far as these funding charges are concerned, remember this happens to be the pivot for this entire investigation because so far the Enforcement Directorate has been able to trace back the money that has essentially come in. And the moment the money has allegedly been received by NewsClick, there have also been instructions that have come in from Naval Roy Singham. Instructions in the nature of what exactly would the organization really carry in the garb of articles which would essentially make China look much more favorable in terms of a business destination, and several other details also now coming in with regards to the fact that they were also carrying out dubbing work for the CCP. Well, that's the latest details that we're getting in with regards to the NewsClick scandal, and with the head HR essentially turning to becoming an approver in this particular case, it could only mean more trouble for Prabir Purkaista and those who have essentially been advocating that NewsClick is a media portal which has been critical of the government here in India. But the fact of the matter is that there were specific instructions that were largely being given by the CCP through Naval Roy Singham, and it turns out that even during the pandemic, NewsClick was basically carrying out propaganda on behalf of CCP. These are allegations which are yet to be proven before the court.